What if I told you that the words you say to yourself every morning could change your entire life? That the difference between success and failure, between confidence and doubt, between action and paralysis, comes down to just 9 powerful sentences. And what if these weren't complicated philosophies, but simple, brutal truths that the most successful people live by, truths that most people are too afraid to say out loud? By the end of this, you'll either be inspired or offended, because real change doesn't happen by accident. It happens when you stop lying to yourself and start speaking the raw, unfiltered truth into your own mind. Every single day, you wake up with a choice to feed your fears or fuel your greatness. And the battle isn't fought in the world around you, it's fought in the 6 inches between your ears. The most dangerous person in the world isn't the one with a weapon, it's the one who has mastered their own mind. And you've been losing that battle because you've been repeating the wrong script. Weak words create weak people. Indecisive language breeds indecisive results. But if you start telling yourself these 9 things without flinching, without hesitation, you will reprogram your brain to operate at a level most people never reach. Let's rip the Band-Aid off right now. Motivation is a scam. You've been brainwashed to believe you need some magical surge of inspiration to take action, but that's a lie. The truth: action creates motivation, not the other way around. Think about it. When was the last time you sat around waiting to feel like doing something hard? And suddenly, poof, the universe rewarded your procrastination with a burst of enthusiasm. Never. Because that's not how the human brain works. Here's the brutal reality: your brain is wired to resist change. It's a survival mechanism, a relic from when conserving energy meant staying alive. But in the modern world, that same wiring sabotages you. It tricks you into believing you need to feel ready before you move. Newsflash: you'll never feel ready. Ever. The most successful people on the planet don't wake up fired up, they wake up and move anyway. They understand a fundamental law of psychology: momentum follows action, not the other way around. You want proof? Look at any gym in January, packed with people motivated by New Year's resolutions. Fast forward to Mark empty. Why? Because they relied on a fleeting emotion instead of discipline. Meanwhile, the person who dragged themselves in on days they didn't feel like it, they're now unrecognizable, not because they were more motivated, but because they showed up when motivation was gone. This is where 99% of people fail. They wait for the perfect moment, the perfect mood, the perfect circumstances. But here's the secret: perfection is the enemy of progress. The only way to rewire your brain is to act before you feel ready. Every time you do, you teach your nervous system a new truth: that discomfort isn't danger, and that confidence is earned through action, not bestowed by fate. So stop asking, do I feel like it? Start asking, what's the next right move? And then do it. Whether it's sending that email, having that tough conversation, or lacing up your shoes when every cell in your body screams, not today, you'll discover something revolutionary. Motivation isn't the spark. It's the fire that starts after you've already begun. And once you grasp that, that's when you stop being a prisoner of your emotions and start becoming the architect of your life. Listen closely, because this one truth will set you free. Your past is not a life sentence, it's a lesson. Right now, there's a war raging in your mind between who you were and who you're becoming, and every second you spend reliving old mistakes is a second stolen from your future. The brain loves patterns. It clings to familiar stories like a security blanket, even when those stories are suffocating you. But here's what neuroscience proves: you are not your past. You are the choices you make today. Think about the last time you failed. That moment lies rent-free in your head, doesn't it? Maybe it whispers you're not good enough when you try something new. That's your amygdala hijacking your potential. It's trying to protect you from pain by keeping you small. But protection from pain is prison. The most resilient people aren't those who never fell. They're the ones who stopped defining themselves by the fall and started learning how to rise. Let's get brutally honest. You've been using your history as an excuse. A bad childhood? A toxic relationship? A career setback? They're not roadblocks, they're fuel. Every great comeback story starts with a chapter of loss. The difference between those who stay stuck and those who break free comes down to one mental shift: reframing your narrative. Trauma researcher Bessel van der Kolk found that healing begins when we stop saying something is wrong with me and start saying something happened to me. That subtle shift, it's revolutionary. This isn't positive thinking, it's powerful thinking. Your brain is a meaning-making machine, and right now it's wired to see your past as evidence of limitation. Rewire it. Take that betrayal and let it teach you discernment. Take that failure and let it forge your resilience. Take that heartbreak and let it expand your capacity for love. The Japanese art of kintsugi repairs broken pottery with gold, not hiding the cracks, but making them part of the beauty. That's your task. Stop trying to erase your scars and start letting them make you irreplaceable. So today, when memory tries to chain you to yesterday, look it in the eye and say, I needed that lesson, but I'm not its prisoner anymore. Then watch what happens when you stop dragging the weight of who you were and start running toward who you're meant to become. I need you to hear this hard truth. The moment you stop blaming is the moment you start winning. Look around at your life right now, every frustration, every unfulfilled dream, every area where you feel stuck, and ask yourself one terrifying question. How did I contribute to this? That question will either piss you off or set you free. Because here's what psychology confirms. People who take full responsibility for their lives are the ones who change them. Blame is psychological quicksand. The more you struggle in it, the deeper you sink. Your brain is wired to protect your ego at all costs. When your career stalls, it's easier to blame the economy than your lack of new skills. When relationships fail, it's simpler to call the other person toxic than to examine your own patterns. This isn't about shame, it's about power. Victimhood might feel safe in the moment, but it comes with a hidden price tag, your agency. Researchers call this locus of control. People with an internal locus believe they shape their lives. Those with an external locus believe life happens to them. Guess which group achieves more? Let's get uncomfortably honest. That job you hate, you applied for it. The extra 30 pounds? You chose every bite. The toxic friendship you can't quit. You're allowing it. This isn't about judgment, it's about awakening. The Japanese samurai had a saying, the bamboo that bends is stronger than the oak that resists. Right now, you're either bending into responsibility or resisting with excuses. And resistance always loses. But here's the miracle waiting on the other side of this mindset shift. When you own everything, you can change anything. That argument with your partner, now you can discuss your triggers instead of their tone. That failed business venture, now you can study the real lessons instead of cursing the market. This is where ordinary people and extraordinary people diverge, not in talent, but in willingness to say 3 game-changing words. I created this. So starting today, when something goes wrong, and it will, I dare you to replace, why is this happening to me, with what is this trying to teach me? That simple pivot will transform you from a passenger in your life to the driver. Because in the end, only one thing determines your destiny, not your circumstances, but who you choose to be in response to them. Fear is lying to you right now. That voice whispering you're not ready, they'll laugh at you. What if you fail? It's not your protector, it's your jailer. Neuroscientists have discovered something revolutionary. Fear and excitement trigger nearly identical physiological responses. The racing heart, the sweaty palms, the nervous energy, your body can't tell the difference. The only distinction exists in your mind's interpretation. This means every time you've talked yourself out of an opportunity because you were too scared, you were actually on the verge of being excited. You've been mislabeling your own potential as danger. Your brain's threat detection system is running on 50,000-year-old software. It still thinks public speaking might get you eaten by a saber-toothed tiger. It believes rejection from that potential client could mean exile from the tribe. But here's what your primitive brain doesn't understand. In the modern world, the risks are almost always psychological, not physical. The worst that can happen today isn't death, it's discomfort. And discomfort is the price of admission for anything worthwhile. Think about the most transformative moments of your life. How many came wrapped in comfort? Exactly 0. They all required you to move through fear first. Let me show you how fear actually works. It peaks right before action. That's when it screams loudest. But take just one step forward and something magical happens. The fear curve always drops, always. Action metabolizes anxiety. Every Navy SEAL knows this. The anticipation of the cold is worse than the actual plunge. The imagined pain is always greater than the real experience. Your mind is catastrophizing outcomes that will never happen. Studies show 85% of what we worry about never occurs, and the remaining 15% is handled far better than we anticipated. Here's your new mantra when fear shows up. This is what growth feels like. That trembling in your hands before the big presentation. That's not weakness. That's your body preparing for excellence. The nausea before asking for the raise. That's not a warning. That's your spirit aligning with your worth. The great paradox is that the feeling we run from is actually the compass pointing to where we need to go. So starting today, stop asking, how can I avoid this fear? And start asking, what does this fear want to teach me? The cave you fear to enter holds the treasure you seek. Always. Let me tell you about the heaviest weight you'll ever carry. It's not failure. It's the ghost of what you didn't attempt. That job you didn't apply for. That conversation you avoided. That leap you never took. Those aren't just missed opportunities. They're silent thieves that steal pieces of your soul over time. Psychologists have studied end-of-life regrets and found a stunning pattern. People don't mourn their mistakes nearly as much as they grieve their unexplored potential. The risks taken fade in memory, but the risks avoided on you. It makes inaction feel safe while secretly poisoning you with the toxin of what if. I think about the last time you chickened out. The temporary relief you felt was just your fear getting its fix, like a drug that makes you comfortable while it kills you slowly. Here's the brutal truth. Safety is an illusion. That relationship you stayed in too long rotted your confidence. That business idea you shelved became someone else's success story. The ground you refused to leave never remains fertile. It turns to quicksand. But here's the flip side that will change everything. Action is the antidote to regret. Every time you choose courage over comfort, you're inoculating yourself against future remorse. Those awkward first steps at the dance class, the cringeworthy early drafts of your book, the embarrassing first attempts at public speaking, they're not failures, they're receipts proving you showed up for your own life. Research shows our brains process regret differently based on action versus inaction. The pain of trying and failing fades, but the pain of never trying crystallizes into permanent bitterness. This is why you must reframe your relationship with failure immediately. Stop seeing it as the worst-case scenario and start recognizing it as the necessary tuition for success. Every master was once a disaster. Every expert was clueless at first. The only difference between where you are and where you want to be is your willingness to suck temporarily. So ask yourself this haunting question every morning. If today were my last day, what would I regret not doing? Then let that uncomfortable truth drag you into action before the sun sets. Because when your time comes, you won't remember the rejections or embarrassments. You'll only remember the chances you didn't take. And that's a pain no one should have to die with. Let's cut through the noise one last time, because none of this matters unless you do something with it. Right now, your future is sitting in your hands like a live wire waiting for you to grab it or let it burn out. You've just been handed 9 mental weapons that can rewrite your destiny, but here's the brutal truth. Knowledge without action is just self-help entertainment. And you weren't built to be a spectator in your own life. Look at your reflection and ask yourself, what's the one thing I've been avoiding that I know would change everything? That tightness in your chest when you think about it. That's not fear, that's your soul screaming for air. Every day you wait, you're letting the old version of you win. Every excuse you make, you're building a cage around potential that was meant to run wild. The world doesn't reward people who know what to do, it rewards people who do what they know. So here's your final challenge starting today. Pick one of these 9 truths that hit you the hardest and weaponize it. Write it on your mirror. Set it as your lock screen. Burn it into your mind until it becomes your reflex. When fear whispers you can't, whisper back, watch me. When procrastination says tomorrow, spit in its face and say now. You don't need another motivational video. You need to become the person who doesn't wait for permission to live. This is your wake-up call. Not tomorrow, not after breakfast. Right now. Stand up, literally stand up. And take one physical action that proves to yourself this isn't just talk. Send the email, make the call. Sign up, quit the toxic habit. Move your body like your life depends on it, because it does. The next 30 days will pass whether you like it or not. The only question is, who will you be on the other side? The person who finally took control, or the person still waiting to feel ready? The clock's ticking. Your future is watching. What's it going to be?